Hi friend, I'm really excited to show you how to make your eyelids and by default your eyes look bigger. This is going to be great for anyone who has smaller eyes and struggles with making them pop. I'm gonna be using the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. It's really dirty because I use this palette all the time. You can actually see I've hit pan on several of the eyeshadows, which never happens, so that just alone shows you how much I use it. But use whatever you have. In fact, I really encourage you to do your makeup along with me. You're gonna need 3 colors, and if you have the Soft Glam palette, you can use the same colors, but all you need to do is use 3 colors that's a light, medium, and dark. So I'm gonna be using Glistening, Burnt Orange, and Sienna. So you can see we have light, medium, and dark. So that's how I'm going to refer to the colors as I'm talking. I'm gonna say I'm using the light color, the medium color, and the dark color. You can use whatever colors you want, like I mentioned, but when you're just starting out, try to use the colors that look similar to each other. You can see from these 3, they're going to blend into each other really nicely, so it's gonna be really easy if you're just starting out. We're gonna start with the medium color and we're going to keep our eyes open looking straight at our mirror. This is really important, especially if you've got smaller eyelids. It's gonna help for you to keep your eyes open when you're doing the crease because this is how it's gonna make your eyes look bigger. So you're gonna look straight, and when we're applying with the cut crease, we're gonna start from the inner part of the eye, go over through our crease, and just wing out slightly. So follow along. So I'm starting right here, my eyes are open, and this spot is just above my crease. So if I was to press my brush, and let's say I'm pressing it here, you can see how it goes in a little bit more. This is my eye socket, but I'm going slightly just above it, leaving only a tiny little bit of space in between the color and my eyebrow. Now this is gonna differ depending on what your eye shape is. So that's why I really want you to feel around your bone structure and go from there. And from here, we're just gonna start blending on over, keeping my eyes open. Now I'm still pretty much overlapping from the crease, which is where my socket is, and onto my brow bone. That's okay because this is our midtone color. This is our lightest color for our crease. And as I start to go over to the end of my eye, I don't want you to bring it all the way down, especially if you have more downturned or hooded eyes that hang a little bit lower. You don't want to bring your brush down. Instead, I'm gonna get a little bit more product on my brush. I'm going to stretch it out and follow the tail of my brow. You can go up to the tail of your brow or go a little bit further depending on how much drama you want. I'm gonna keep it not too much further out. I went just slightly, but not too much because I'm not trying to do something very dramatic here. We're trying to keep it natural. Right here I have a little mark, so I'm just going to blend that out by pressing very lightly on my brush so I don't deposit too much more pigment. Okay, we're just blending that on out. Now, what I like to do is I always like to use a clean brush with no product on it that I can use to soften any edges. So I'm gonna grab a brush and I'm just gonna go over that edge so it doesn't look like it's a hard stop. I want it to be a really nice blend. And I'm probably gonna put my highlight color, which is gonna be my lid color, underneath my eyebrow later on. But don't worry, we'll get there later. We're now gonna go in with our darkest color. And in order to do that, I want you to use a brush that's smaller than the brush used for the medium color. So for the medium color, I just use this fluffy blending brush. This is a Crown SS027. So we've used that brush to apply the medium color. Now to go in with our darker color, I'm using something smaller, which is one of my absolute favorite brushes, especially for detailing your work. This is a Crown brush S539, and I highly encourage you to get a brush that has this shape. This is the 2 brushes, so just want you to see the comparison. This guy right here that I'm gonna use for the darker color is nice and skinny and it's tapered, whereas the brush that I use for the mid color, it's fluffier and bigger. What this is gonna do is the fluffy brush is gonna apply the fluffy brush is gonna apply less product and make it more diffuse, and the smaller brush that has more of a defined point is going to apply more product and give me the definition that I want. So I'm taking that C539 and I wanna follow the shape that I did with the medium color. But this time, instead of having it overlap and go a little bit on my brow bone, I wanna focus on making this stay put just in the crease. So like I said, we're gonna follow the same area. So I'm gonna go where my crease is. So I want you to do the same thing, feel around for your eye socket, and I'm gonna mark it down. Now don't worry if it's too thick, we're gonna clean that up when we cut the crease in just a little while, so stay tuned. So I mark it right here. I'm going slightly a little bit lower into the inner corner, and I'm going just underneath where we put our medium color. Then I'm starting to drag it on over, going right into my crease the entire time. So you know, if you have to press your eye like this to find exactly where your socket is, please do that. And like I said, don't worry about the neatness. We're gonna fix that in a moment. Scale here, I'm just gonna connect these two together, give it a little wiggle. Normally I don't like to wiggle, but to connect here, it makes sense. Getting a little bit more product on my brush, and I'm gonna continue following my crease. Something that I also want you to pay attention to is how I'm holding the brush. I'm holding it straight on, not at an angle. Very straight because I wanna use the exact point of the brush. And I'm following it to the outer corner. Again, we don't wanna close. We wanna keep this whole area open, so don't bring it down too low. Following that. And as you get to the outer corner, I want you to apply less pressure. That way you get more of a tapered point, just like you see here. If I apply too much pressure, it's gonna have the same thickness as I have going on here, and it's not gonna be as pretty. Just gonna round this out in the inner corner just a little bit more. Notice I don't have any more product on my brush. I'm using just the residue. That's all you need. Sometimes if you tend to get a lot of mess happening with your eye makeup, it's because you have too much product on your brush. And that can also make it difficult to blend. Okay, once I've got this down, I'm gonna go back to my fluffy brush that I used earlier. Do you remember how I had a brush that had no product on it and I was using it just to blend out edges? Well, I'm gonna pick that brush up again. And this brush is the SS012. Okay, so now what I wanna do is I'm gonna get a little bit of my medium color onto this brush. Even though it was a clean brush, I have a tiny bit of that medium color because I wanna go over this edge to soften it up. I want them to blend into each other nicely. So I'm just going back and forth, doing slight little circles and little wiggles to just blend the two together so you can't see where one color starts or one color ends. That's the key with blending. You don't wanna be able to tell. All right. That's a nice blend. You might notice when I look down, it looks like a hot mess. And that's okay because we're gonna take care of that now. So don't worry about what's going on down here. Just focus on making sure that this looks nice and blended. Now, we're gonna get rid of that. You're gonna use your concealer or your eyeshadow primer, whichever you have. If you don't have an eyeshadow primer, you can just grab your concealer. You're also going to need a flat eyeshadow brush. And the flat eyeshadow brush that I'm using is the Crown C510. I like this size eyeshadow brush for my eye shape specifically because if you look, I have really small eyelids. And that's why I wanted to show you this look because my eyelids are about to get real big real quick. You're gonna see the difference in a moment. So you're gonna take your concealer, and I don't want you to put it directly on your eye. You're gonna take your brush, get a little bit of product onto your brush, and then you're going to dab this along your lash line. Don't worry if it covers up most of your eye, that is totally okay. You wanna get it there on your lash line. Then you're gonna look straight into your mirror and you're gonna look up. You see how that transferred? And don't worry, we're gonna get rid of all the splotchiness, don't worry. But the goal that I want you to really do is look up so you can transfer the concealer into your crease. This is how you're gonna cut the crease. And this is why I think it's easy. This is basically a cheat. The concealer is helping us out. So that way we don't have to think like, oh, where should it go? You're just gonna follow your own eye shape. So now that you've got this on, I'm not gonna worry about the splashes just yet. The first thing I wanna do is really get this shape down. Now it looks like I need a little bit more concealer on my brush. So I'm just gonna go grab that. Because I have the shape there, I can just press it along. I don't have to worry about looking up again. I can just follow what I've already created. And when you're doing this, I want you to follow the entire part of your crease. So go a little slowly, go as slow as you need to make sure that you get a very nice defined line. That's why if you notice, I'm pressing more than I'm swiping, especially as I get close to that harsh line, because I don't want it to be jagged. We're going really slow. Okay, I got that down. So now let's fix these splotches that happened. So in order to fix the splotches, I'm gonna get something, hold on. So I actually grabbed my eyebrow pencil, and I grabbed my eyebrow pencil because I wanna use this spoolie. And I'm going to use this spoolie to pick up these little splotches. If I would have blended them in with my eyeshadow brush, what's gonna happen is it's going to create marks, and I don't wanna create those marks. And if I go in with eyeshadow immediately, it's gonna make the eyeshadow darker in that spot where the concealer was, so you wanna make sure you get rid of it before you fix it. And spoolies are just really good erasers. You know, don't press too hard because you don't want to scratch your eyelid, but just go gently to pick up some of those splotchiness. This is real life problems that we're dealing with, so I'm actually glad that this happened so I can show you how to correct it in case it happens for you too. Everyone makes mistakes with their makeup. Don't let the influencers fool you and think that they just woke up like that all the time and they automatically know how to do their makeup and there's no mistakes. You know, they tend to show you a step, go off camera, fix it, and then they come back on and it's perfect. I wanna show you more of the step-by-step process so you can see where I make a mistake and if I do, how you can fix it. So if the same thing happens, you've got the right tools. Now that I got rid of the splotchiness, I'm not gonna add more product to my brush, but I'm going to take the brush that I use to apply my darker color and I'm just gonna go over it slightly. I don't need more shadow on my brush because there's still the residue there. And this is just going to blend everything together so we don't see any marks. Because I'm a perfectionist, and I'm going to assert that you might be as well, I got a little bit more concealer on my brush and I'm just going to make sure that this line is really defined before I put on the eyeshadow. So I already know where this spot is because we splotched it before. So I'm just going in to re-enhance that, keeping my eyes open to make sure I get it in the spot that I want it to. And I'm just pressing. Pressing is always going to be your friend. Okay. All right, now that it is on completely, I can go in and blend out the creasing that happened from the eyeshadow from fixing the crease up. I'm going to use the same flat brush for my light color. I just have a tissue here and I'm wiping the excess off so there's no more concealer left on my brush. Now I'm gonna go right in with my light color and I'm going to press the eyeshadow on top of where I put the concealer. Everywhere where I put the concealer, we're gonna fill in this whole area. Going right up to where the crease is. And as you're along the edges, again, just press it in that area. You don't want to swipe back and forth because then you're going to overlap onto your dark color and it won't be as defined. As you're getting to the outer corner, it is up to you if you do want to follow the crease. I am all about a good shimmer, so I'm taking it all the way out. By doing this is also going to make your eyes not only look bigger, but also look wider. So if you have wide set eyes, you might want to not go as far out and just keep it a little closer to the center of your eye area. So you can see the difference. Look at how much bigger I've made my eyelid on this eye versus what's going on here. I know I don't have any eye makeup on there yet, but what I want you to notice is that you see here, let me look in a mirror so I can make sure I'm going. So I have my fold right over here. So normally, if I just do my eyeshadow regularly, I really only see eyeshadow in this little spot. But I want my eyes to look bigger, especially so when I put on mascara, everything looks great. I did end up bringing it up here, and that's what the cut crease does for us. It makes our eyelids look bigger, and this look in general is gonna make your eyes look huge. Did you do the look with me? If you did, please tag me on Instagram so I can see, or drop your selfie in my Facebook group. All links are in the description box below. And if you want to know how to do this under smoke, well, stay tuned for the next video.